is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phones and Drones. I wanted to go ahead and do a quick side-by-side comparison with Apple's 2018 entry-level iPad and Samsung's new entry-level Tab S5e. As you can see right off the bat, you're getting a larger screen on the Tab. It's 10.5 inches as opposed to 9.7 on the iPad. This is actually a Super AMOLED display that just looks fantastic. It does render at 2K as opposed to the iPad that is an IPS LCD display. Doesn't look bad by any means. It's still a Retina display as they call it. However, it's just something to keep in mind. It is not as sharp as Samsung's latest tablet. Now, this is actually running on a quad-core processor instead of the octa-core processor that is powering the Snapdragon 670 chipset in the Tab. You are going to get your rear-facing cameras. You're going to have a 13 megapixel shooter on the Tab S5e, whereas opposed to you only getting, I believe, an 8 megapixel shooter on the iPad. The front-facing video cameras, this is literally, it's laughable. It's 1.2 megapixels only as opposed to an 8 megapixel camera on the Tab as well. Now, one thing that's pretty cool, both of these iPads do have physical fingerprint sensors. Apple's obviously is in the front with Touch ID. And then the side-mounted power button on the Tab is where that is located. One thing I just want to go ahead and jump right into, because it doesn't do it justice even on the camera comparison. Look just how thin this is as opposed to the iPad. This is 7.5 millimeters and this is 5.5 millimeters. It's just phenomenal what Samsung did here. As far as weight goes, they both feel solid in hand. They're not going to be worrying about breaking that anytime soon. I know a lot of people wanted to compare the Tab S5e to the iPad Pro with the thinness and its bending issue. I'm not going to go ahead and risk bending this one, but just from trying to flex it a little bit, it is built very solidly. This actually weighs 69 grams more than the Tab S5e. I believe this comes in at 400 grams and this is about 470. They do come in a couple of different color assortments. There's gold, silver, and black, or if you want to call it space gray on the iPad. Pretty comparable as far as that goes. You are getting an 81.83% screen to body ratio on this Galaxy Tab, which is phenomenal. And you are only getting a 71.67 display on the iPad. You can see just how much bezel is on this as opposed to the new Tab S5e. As far as screen resolution goes, you're getting 1536 by 2084 pixels on the iPad, and you're getting 1600 by 2560 on the Galaxy Tab S5e. Much better display, newer technology, Super AMOLED, just looks phenomenal like I said earlier. Aside from that, you're getting a higher video recording capability. You're recording at 4K on this as opposed to only, I believe it might be 720 on this. They're both at 30 frames per second though, so you're not going to be doing a lot of heavy recording, unfortunately. Aside from that, from using both these devices now for a little while, I have to really say Samsung got a home run with this. Everyone knows about iPads and how great they are in the tablet space. This, to me personally, it just doesn't cut it for the same price point. You're talking about $399 or so for both of these models. You're getting double the storage at 64 gigs on this one as opposed to 32 on the iPad. Much better of a media consumption device. You have quad-core speaker array. There's two on each side of the tablet on the top and bottom as opposed to the single down-firing speaker on the iPad. It just does not cut it anymore. I really do think this is the best sounding tablet I have ever heard. As far as from a eye-appealing standpoint too, I mean, it just looks phenomenal. This black looks great. You can do obviously the gold like we said, or the silver. I just think it's a little dated. Apple's holding back its own technology to kind of upsell the products, whereas Samsung's really bringing this mainstream. That's really it, guys. The batteries are comparable. Like I said, personal preference, iOS or Android. I personally would go hands down with the Tab S5e. One other thing to keep in mind as far as productivity goes, there is no standard or Apple-made keyboard to go with this model of the iPad. Samsung does offer somewhat of a productivity suite on this. You can have the additional bookcase that has the keyboard built in, as we talked about on our other video as well. That's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. Who do you prefer? Apple, Samsung, iPad, Galaxy S5e? Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.